Hey guys, today I'll be discussing the basics for socializing fearful and aggressive cats. So, our goals when socializing these kind of cats is to assess their overall stress level and their quality of life. And once we get them out, we're able to kind of get a feel for what they might actually be like in a home environment because we know that most shelter cats are very stressed and scared and not being their true self. Once we get them out and are able to socialize with them, this is a form of positive enrichment for them. It's mentally stimulating in them and will hopefully decrease their overall fear, anxiety, and stress. We know that cats that are less fearful will have improved behavior once back in the kennels for the most part. And we know that stress plays a huge role in disease transmission at the shelter. So those with less stress are actually healthier, and healthier, friendlier, happier cats are going to be adopted more often. Here are the topics we're going to start with today, starting with understanding cat behavior. So, I want people to understand that it's virtually impossible to tell the difference between a cat that's truly feral and a terrified pet cat because we know that aggression is a cat's number one response, normal response to being scared. So, hissing, growling, swatting, lunging, all of those responses are not telling us that this cat is feral or unsocialized. All this means is that this cat is very scared. Stress cats also do what's called feigning sleep, and sometimes this can be hard to recognize. But essentially, it's a cat that is so stressed that it is fake sleeping as a coping mechanism. So they're not really relaxed, they're not really getting a good REM sleep. They're faking sleeping because they have such, emotional suffering in this environment and they don't know how else to cope. So it's these cats that are feigning sleep, lashing out aggressively, and being extremely fearful that are in the most need of socialization. So before we get the cats out, we want to secure a room, and this room should be free of other cat or dog smells, so clean it when appropriate. The room should also be very calm and quiet with minimal distractions. These cats are already in a very fearful state, so they have, heightened responses and very sensitive to unexpected noises and people. So you don't want anyone coming in and out when you're doing your session or even walking by making distracting noises, things like that. This room should also have minimal crawl spaces. So if the cat does try to get away or run, they can't get up into, couches or behind cabinets or on top of cabinets, things like that, where it's going to be really hard to get them back out because that's just added stress to an already stressed cat. And then lastly, you're going to want to have treats, towels, and toys in the room so that you can help better socialize and interact with them. Next, we're going to want to assess their FAS. So that's fear, anxiety, and stress. And you want to do this before even interacting with them to gauge what your next steps are going to be. So assess them from a distance before, opening their kennel. See what they are on this score chart. The score chart does a really good job of breaking down each level of stress and what body language and signs you're going to see at each level. And then you're going to slowly approach their kennel and see what they do. Are they getting more scared? Are they getting more curious that you're coming towards them? And then again, score them so that you can see how to pick them up. So those with FAS levels 0 to 3 should be fine to be picked up with a towel as long as you're comfortable holding and handling cats. Pick them up, put them in a carrier for transport. Those with FAS levels 4 and 5, I don't even bother trying to pick them up with a towel. What you're going to want to do is put in a carrier or a feral box den in their primary kennel and let them go in on their own and then close them in so that you can transport them. This is much safer and much less stressful for both you and the cat. And then this is also a really good chart for assessing their stress because this one is specific for shelter cats. And it also discusses on the top the feigning sleep I was talking about. And again, this is a severe response to stress and anxiety at the shelter. Cat containment. So when you're going to get these cats out, always put them in a carrier or container of some kind. You never, ever want to transport a cat in your arms, no matter how good you are at carrying cats or holding them, or even if the room is just one door away, it's not worth the risk. It takes, a minute or so to put them in a carrier. Just be safe, better safe than sorry. And any of these are fine. I use all three of these depending on what the shelter has. Plastic carriers are great. The cardboard ones are really good for the less fearful ones because you can open them and get them out pretty easy. But I would not use the cardboard ones for those that are extremely fearful because, again, they're so fearful they're going to try and escape and they can break out of the cardboard sometimes. That's where the feral boxes come in handy. And these feral boxes actually close with a clear plexiglass on the front so you can assess them even once they're outside of their kennel through the glass. And then finally, when you're working with these cats, you want to do so with confidence. You want to be calm and quiet, go slow, and be confident. They can sense your fear. So if you're scared of them, they're going to be even more scared of you. So you want to have that confidence and, just be there, be supportive, talk to them, treat them how you would if this was your own cat at the shelter. It's all about just showing them that you're there to help them and not hurt them. So to summarize, really the majority of these cats don't need extensive socialization at all. All they really need is to be brought out of that primary kennel environment and into a room where they can be themselves. And most of them transform completely once in a nice, quiet room with you. And even their ones that are super aggressive become totally different. So again, I like to compare it to kennel aggression. Dogs with kennel aggression, we get them out, we see that they're lunging and barking and they look so scary, but you get them out into a play yard and they're completely different dogs. So same thing here. And the bundle and bond technique is something I mentioned on my website where you wrap them using the Superman towel wrap technique. I rarely have to use this. The only ones I did use this on primarily were those that are, again, the FAS 4 out of 5. And these cats who are frozen in fear, as the chart explains, they're not aggressive usually, but they're so fearful that they are the ones that are going to bolt. They're the ones that are going to try and climb the walls and things like that. So these ones you want to be extra cautious with when putting in and out of a carrier and handling. I like to use the bundle and bond with those guys. And then lastly, remember that every cat is different. It's, again, impossible to tell the difference between just a feral cat and a scared cat. So don't assume that a cat that is aggressive must be unsocialized and must be really hard to work with. No, it's all about just assessing them appropriately in the appropriate controlled environment and going from there. So good luck. Thanks for watching and happy socializing.